Tech. We talk about tech, fun stuff, and much, much more. Hey guys, for some of you remember Radio Shack? I remember my first build my own radio kit and all the electronic kits that we used to learn electronics. Well, today we don't have Radio Shack anymore. What we do have is the Raspberry Pi, a little electronic computer board that can be programmed and used to create just about everything. So today I want to talk about Raspberry Pi. I've heard a lot about it. People have asked me to do a little talk about it. So today we're going to do that. So I did order the Raspberry Pi, the 4B. The 4A has problems with compatibility with different power supplies. So the B was the one I chose. Now it comes in 2, 4, and 8 gigabytes. But for the purposes that I'm going to put a gaming system together, I'm going to use a 4 gigabyte. Now the next thing I had to choose, of course, was a case. And let's be honest, there are so many different cases. I mean, I never knew there were so many cases in such a little bit of time. Anything from the Argon to one that looks like a Nintendo 64 look-alike. And there's even one that has a little that you can put the Raspberry 4 board in, and then you could put a little screen, so you have yourself a little computer screen. And depending on the software, you could be running Windows, you could be running a gaming system, you could be doing all kinds of things. So that was my next thing. I ended up with the Argon 1 Raspberry, and the reason I chose that particular one was because of simplification of assembly. The second one is it does have an expansion board that you can put on the bottom of the case where you connect a hard drive. So that was my second decision. Now the next decision I had to make is because I'm going to be loading different ROMs and different games, is I chose 2 controllers. One was the classic NA64 controller, and 2 super controller joysticks. Both are wired. Some people told me I should use wireless. I said for this project I'm going to do this, and if I find it wireless will work for me, I will try out those. But I figured I'm going to try for this experiment doing this. So let's get to unboxing, and let's see what comes out of this. So I have all the things I'm going to need. My Raspberry board. I chose the Argon P4. It came with a USB-C power supply, and you have to buy the one that matches your particular unit. And a 256 micro SD card, which will load our program on and all our games. So let me get unboxing this, and well, let's take a look at it. Okay, so I unboxed the Raspberry board and such. So we have our Raspberry board, and this came with an extension board which I've already plugged into it. Now what I like about this particular case, as you can see, number one, it has a cooling fan and 2 heat sinks that you're going to put these 2 heat sink conductors stick on here, the double-sided sticky, and then you have your pins which will then plug into here, which then allows you to reach the pins through a separate case. Now what I do like about it, I'm not going to finish putting it together, but as you can see, when I do put this together with the case, what I liked about it and what I didn't like about the other case is that I can get to the SD card. And that's an important thing, because if you're loading programs or you want to take the SD card out, you don't have to want to take about the whole system. Now what I don't like about it already, they're supposed to have 4 of these little screws. It only came with 3. So far, it's a case. Let me put it together and I'll get back with you in a second. Now I've installed the board. Here's the extension board. Here's the Raspberry Pi. 3 screws here, 1 screw here. The other screws are going to be used by the case. What I like about it you have 2 USB 3.0, 2 USB 2.0, power supply in, and a USB-C and a power button. That makes this very nice. Your internet connection, And when you do put the case on, the cover, now I'm going to go screw this in. You can see that once it's attached, you can now you have access to the micro SD card, which is really handy because I've noticed that a lot of the cases that they cover this up, which I don't understand why. I mean, it's just a matter of molding and making the case. Let me put this together and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I finished putting this together. Put the feet on. Had 4 screws closed the cover. This is where a micro USB card will go. It comes with a, again, like I said, on-off switch, power supply, USB-C's out, your internet connection. Your Raspberry 4 does have Wi-Fi, which you have to set up afterwards. So what I'm going to do now, I bought, like I said, I bought 2 different game controllers. A power supply was with this kit. And I have the micro HDMI to regular HDMI adapter that's going to go in here that when I connect this to the TV. So I'm going to get to it right now, where I'm going to go in and load the software for the Raspberry, and we'll step this up to the next step right now. So the next step in your process is you're going to be needing to download RetroPie, and you're going to, of course, need to take your micro SD card and put it into a holder, some type of reader, and you head to this site, which is RetroPie, and that's your emulator, and you download the correct one. I'm using a Raspberry Pi4, so start downloading that right now, and let me show you the next step. Now, of course, the next step is you're going to head over to balena.io, and you're going to download this program, and what this is going to allow you to do is to create a image. So what I suggest you do is you create a file with both images into it, with your that you should call Pi. So download, put your RetroPie inside of it, and then from that point, we're going to put your micro SD card into the computer and make sure you select the correct one. Because as you can see here, it'll ask you to select the image, and then select the drive. Make sure you got the right one. Double check it, triple check it, because you can accidentally erase it. And then you'll select flash, and that'll make your drive. Once you've done that, your next step, of course, is to put it into your computer, into your little Pi board, and then power up. And then you'll see it's starting to boot up. And as it boots up, it'll ask you to configure the system. You'll have everything hooked up. Now, parts of this may not be exactly in the right place. Unfortunately, I've been interrupted several times during the recording, so if something seems a little out, I'm trying to fix it in editing. Anyway, so you're going to have to, of course, to create the boot.io software, which I showed you where to find it. You're going to create a USB drive, and you're going to create a file on it, RetroPie. Now, in my particular setup, and this is a test, I put the RetroPie and 2 controllers and a keyboard. It's good to have a keyboard connected to it while you're doing it. Of course, you put your micro SD card with your I/O already on it. It'll start to boot up. Once it boots up, it's going to ask you to configure your controllers. Once that completes, you want to take that USB drive and plug into it, and let it sit there. It's going to flash for a while, and what's going to happen is it's going to write a sub file with all the different emulators that are on there. And then, of course, you go and collect your emulators, and you're going to copy and paste them into each one of the files. So N64, you'll copy your ROMs for your N64, and on and on and on and on. So let me just show you that real quick. Now, what some people use, there are different sites that you can go to that will give you some different ROMs to play games. From checking the blogs, and various people said that. So like I said, I checked several of the blogs looking at different places that I could source ROMs. One, of course, is to source from the actual game itself, the game cartridge, the CD that came with it, and copy the ROM onto the game because you actually own the game. You could also source other places. I'm sure if you look on Google, do a Google search, you'll be able to find some good ROMs for the Raspberry. As for me, I cannot legally tell you where to go, so we'll continue with showing you the setup. Once you've collected all the ROMs that you need to collect, make sure you put them in the same file so that you can locate them. Then you're going to take that USB drive, which I told you put into the Raspberry, and it was writing a subroutine file. And what's going to happen, it's going to write three things on there: BIOS, configuration, and ROMs. And in there, it's going to list all of the different emulators that are available on the RetroPie. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go in and you're going to copy the various ROMs into those various things. Just cut and paste. Pick it up, copy it, pick it up, copy it. And then once you've done that, all right, then you're going to go in, put it back into the RetroPie while it's on, and then leave it for a while. A good 15 minutes. And then what you'll do is, once that's done, you're going to go in and you're going to restart emulation, and it's going to come up. And when you do, you're going to get this screen. What you're going to see then is basically this screen. And depending upon which games you put in, it's going to list what's available. And like, for instance, this one lists the type of controller that you should be using, and it also lists how many games you're listing. And then you can, using the menu, just move over and find the ones that you want to use. And as you use submenus, you'll go even further. Let me show you that. So when you go into any one of the submenus that now have been created, that actually tells you which controller works best with this. You can see I have copied them, cut and paste into the individual ROMs, and you can see all the games that are available to me. Let me show you one of the games just quickly, what it looks like. So just quick, I just was playing a game and I recorded just a tiny bit, but because of YouTube's algorithm, and because they would start to give me a copyright claim of the music, I only could show you a slight portion of how well it performs, and it does perform very well. So I hope this has been informative and helpful for you. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel so I can bring you more content like this. And I'll be creating some more Raspberry Pi projects with different operating systems in the future, if you like what you're seeing. So please comment and like, or comment and don't like, whatever you do. And if you have any other suggestions, please let me know. And until next time, this is Casey from Casey Grandpa Tech out, and have a great day.